This is episode 208 of the Super League pod, and this week the Page vs Tom battle for match review supremacy really ramps up. It's another high caliber week of your fan match reviews. Wrapped around that, we've news from Iraq from all the leagues, results from the Championship, and plenty of Challenge Cup chat to chew over too. Get excited, gang, it's Super League pod time. Hello everyone, it's episode 208 of the Super League pod. Welcome aboard. I'm your main host, as always, well, as usual, let's say, rather than always, Mark. And I'm joined this week again by Tim G. Great to have you on board again, Tim.
Yes, it's always good to be back in the seat. How's your week been?
My week has been, alright, yeah. We're looking at setting down some new routes house-wise, so we've been speaking to mortgage advisors and that sort of stuff, which I don't particularly enjoy, and I've been doing a lot of overtime at work, so none of that
to pay for it. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Are you staying local, or are you going further afield?
Yeah, we live in Kirkham now, in just north of Preston, and sort of northwest of Preston, and we plan to stay in that area. Yeah. And I suppose that's exciting, but I find it hard to get G'd up at this stage because it's the money conversation stage first, and then the going and nosing at people's houses stage kind of is what we're going to start doing over the next few weeks. What else did we get up to? Not a great deal, I don't think. What about you? How's your week been? You've had a very exciting weekend, from what I understand.
Yeah, weekend. So I was in Stratford on the Olympic Park on Wednesday for some work stuff, which was quite exciting. So it was a good day over there. What else have I done?
Volunteer.
Friday. What's it called? Watched the Fed Cup, which was quite good. Good win for Great Britain, and some good sense. And then Saturday, I did my.
Sorry, I wanted you to talk about the volunteering stuff because that sounds really fun. But you mentioned the Fed Cup stuff, and that's made me think, I don't really get how it works. So,
no, even Heather, my girlfriend, who is a massive tennis fan, couldn't really fully explain it.
So the Fed Cup is kind of like the women's version of the Davis Cup, yeah?
Yes,
which
exactly.
Is kind of like the international team competition in tennis. So you do singles and doubles. Whoever wins the most out of the 5 games wins. But I don't get how. Is it like a knockout
grouping
tournament?
Structure?
Because now we're going into a playoff to get into the world group, but
it's kind of different leagues that also play at the same time, and then you have a qualifying to get into that next group, that next league, and it's complicated. And the home ties are purely decided by a ballot, by a draw. Sorry, so it's just whoever gets home. It's not. You win that one, so you'll get a home tie in the next round, or it just goes into a straight draw, so any one of 16 teams could be drawn at home.
So now we're into the playoff to get promoted?
Yeah, but also the other league carries on at the same time.
So when do we play those next games? Because they're all spread out in are they played in a calendar year? Are they played just continuously forever with no real structure? That's how it always feels like. You never know when the Davis Cup's going to come around.
I think it gets sort of given in a year, but I think it's too complicated, and I don't really understand it, and neither does anyone else.
Having a convoluted league structure in rugby league sometimes. The international tennis scene is beyond.
It makes the Super 8 easy to explain.
Could rustle up in his wildest imagination. So volunteering for the cricket.
I don't want to think about Nigel Wood's wildest imagination.
Let's move on.
What that contains. Yeah, is it better or worse than Ralph Rimmers? That's the question.
I don't think it makes a difference. I think they're both the same mind still. Anyway, we digress. We're supposed to be digressing into other stuff, not into rugby league.
on Saturday, I went down to Bristol. I get up very early. Went down to Bristol to be doing my training for the Cricket World Cup. Because I'm going to be volunteering as a cricketer for that. So I'm going to be in the broadcast and media operations suite. So I'll be doing all sorts of general gophering and things volunteering for that. And I got my very snazzy uniform, which does look like I'm in the British Empire.
Excellent.
It's bright green and blue. Met some really interesting people. Met couple of people there. One person who's involved in the Bristol Rugby League. So Matt, if you're listening, hello.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Do we think that there's got to be a Bristol Rugby League?
Oh, not that Bristol Rugby League. No, the Bristol Sonics.
Yeah.
The ones that have been there for years until last year.
Yeah.
No, so Matt Annis, if you are listening, hello. Nice to meet you again. But yeah, met some interesting people. They did it actually as a training event, just as a training event. They did it really well. It was really interactive, and they obviously had to pitch it for people that would know nothing about cricket, but they also made sure that if you were a bit of a cricket tragic, you played along with it and you got bought in. And so they had some questions on like to assess people's cricket knowledge. So they showed you a video which explained it, which was really well produced and well put together and quite snappy. And then they did a quiz on it, and it was a quiz on your mobiles. So you linked into a little page, you clicked on that, and it was all about fastest finger first, and that was who won the prizes.
Okay.
So even if you knew the answer straight away, it was about how quickly could you do it to get the prize.
Yeah. So what were some of the questions?
That was really fun.
We know we have some cricket lovers who listen in. We know we've got Dave Cantrell's training to be an umpire. We're following his journey along on social media.
When he's remembering he's not a wicket keeper. Yeah. So one of the questions was, how many players are there on a cricket team?
11.
Correct.
Oh, so quick then. Would I won? Think fastest finger there. That was pretty fast.
I don't know, because one of them were like 0.6 of a second or 0.5 of a second. It was ridiculous how quick. I thought I was quite quick on the mark. I didn't even hit the top 10 once.
Wow.
So it was quite good. But the prize was a stress ball each time. So each time you got a question right, you won a stress ball. And the guy next to me, a very nice guy, Tom, he won 3. So what he did is once he got one, he then distributed his other prizes round the table.
Oh, that's kind.
Which was nice. So then when I went up, because I did a quiz type thing where I went up and was doing it game show style on stage, if you like, I did that, and then I won 2, so I distributed mine further around, so making sure as many of us got them as possible.
That's nice. So that all the volunteers weren't stressed out by the day.
Exactly. So got my uniform, got my new trainers that I get for doing it as well. So I get some New Balance trainers. Ooh. Which
because do they are they the sponsors of the competition?
They'll be the sponsors. Yeah.
Excellent.
And learn all about the infrastructure and what's going to happen. I'm quite excited to do that in May and June down in Bristol. So that'll be good fun.
Awesome.
And then made pancakes on Saturday night because it's almost pancake day-ish, sort of.
Trial run.
Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent.
And when I learned such things as I didn't actually own a whisk, which was so I had to go and get one, but which was entertaining. And then yesterday I went and very excitingly fixed the talking newspaper studio and did some general DIY type stuff around there.
Oh, excellent. That's so. Do you know what? Why don't we remind new listeners what that was? Because it's a really cool cause kind of thing, the talking newspapers. So remind people where it was and how they can get involved if they want to, and how they can support it.
So there are hundreds of talking newspapers all up and down the country, and broadly speaking, everyone does it differently. So if there's 400 of them, they all have 400 different ways of doing it. But broadly speaking, and what we do on the Swindon Talking newspaper is we take our local paper, and the way we like to picture it is a friend comes around to read you the paper. So if people are blind, partially sighted, elderly, isolated, just want a recording of the local paper, save them having to read it, or if they're unable to read it, we send it out on a memory stick. We give them a boom box to play it on. So we send out a little memory stick in a wallet, which is provided free of charge by the Royal Mail. That comes into them every week that we've recorded. So we've done we've done all the recording, and they then pop that in. The player plays for somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, and we put some other contents. We put some other podcasts, some special programs from the RNIB, things like that go into that.
Slip a Super League pod episode or 2 on there.
It's that's possibly the next expansion one for us. But do that, and then they send it back, and then the process repeats itself the next week. So we're very lucky in Swindon. We've got a permanent studio, and we're able to keep that up to date. We've got some pretty nice kit that we're able to put in there. but other talking newspapers do it not dissimilar to the way we're doing Super League Pod, with a microphone attached to a computer, and just sit around it. But it's really good fun thing to get involved in, and I definitely recommend checking out your local one if you've got anyone who just wants to hear their local paper recorded. There's no entry fees, and there's no it's all a charitable thing, and there's no sort of barriers or questionnaires for entry. It's just the information that you ask for is just so we can get you the paper out to you. And it's all free of charge, taken care of. And if you want to find your local one, go to tnf.org.uk. It's TNF, Talking News Federation.
Excellent, Brill. Let's talk about Super League Pod now. So this week's episode, what we've got coming up, Tim, we're going to start with some news, and probably quite a heavy dose of sad early season injury news. Quite a bit of that has come along. We've got a full slate of Super League games to go through, so 6 games there with plenty of your listeners' fan reviews of those games. We've also got the Championship and the Challenge Cup games to go through the results of. Then we're going to get our predictions, Tim, for 4 different competitions this week. We've got the World Club Challenge, Super League, Championship, and it's the start of League One. If you've not listened to it already, go and listen to our SLP short League One season preview. We chat about 40 minutes or so about League One, and we'd run through all the teams and give our predictions there. Go find that wherever you found this show, and we hope you enjoy that, because we certainly, whilst we are Super League focused, we don't want to not talk about the other one. We want to get the other ones involved as well, so check that out. A little bit of feedback to mention whilst we're opening things up, Tim. Lots of people mentioned the new music over Twitter and Facebook and stuff over the last week or so.
As the last person sequentially to hear it, in terms of when they found out there was new music to when they actually heard it, I really liked it. It reminded me a bit of the Thor Ragnarok soundtrack, that sort of slightly space age sort of woo-wah sound that I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to everyone's taste. Some don't like change out there, and they know who they are. But mostly it was...
Neither do I, but then I just got notes.
Mostly it was positive, and we like it, like you say, Tim, so it's staying. That means you'll get plenty of chance, those who don't like change, to get used to it as the season progresses. And then a shout out as well. Phil Nadian's made a donation to this SLP cause this week, so thank you very much, Phil, for your donation. I'm in the process of getting the new merch over to our distributor, and then we'll send out any kind of pending rewards for donations. So Phil, your hat will be on its way in the next couple of weeks. We're just ironing out the details on getting it over to our distributor, and then we'll be sorting it all out. That's cool. The fanciest way of saying Fatboy Rob that I've ever heard. Our distributor.
Our favourite distributor.
Well, most definitely. And before we move on then to the news, just to say that this episode of Super League Pod is sponsored by Little Warden. If you have a website, then visit littlewarden.com and see what they can do to help you. They can help you with domain expiration checks, redirects, and all sorts of important background web stuff that they'll make simple for you. Little Warden, monitoring the tedious.
So now time for the news, and starting with the news that St Helens halfback Johnny Lomax has signed a new 4-year deal to keep him with the Super League club until the end of the 2022 season. The 28-year-old, how is Johnny Lomax only 28 years old, came through the Saints Academy, has made nearly 200 appearances since his debut in 2009. Lomax's decision to extend his stay with the club follows teammates Tommy Makinson and James Roby in signing some new deals. And we did have some fan views on this one, Mark.
Yeah, Neil McEwen got in touch. He said, I'm hoping this new contract doesn't include any central payments for being an ambassador. The only thing he's been an ambassador for is the NHS.
Well, hang on. I think you'll find Gary Wheeler is ahead of him in that stakes.
Yeah, but Gary Wheeler spends half his time getting treatment in Canada, does he now?
Yeah, so he's
probably flying back here.
The Canadian healthcare treatment. Oh, he probably is he even able to fly half the time? Does he injure himself in flight?
Boarded the plane.
How is Johnny Lomax only 28?
I don't understand why that's a surprise to you, his age. I'd have had him mid to late 20s.
I would have said he was 30 at least.
he's been around a while, but he made his debut as a real young kid. Obviously, he played in the grand final way back in